guys, Dr. Decks here. Today we are talking about 5 ways to finish off your deck. So you got the deck down, it's looking pretty good. What's next? I'm gonna tell you right now. If you like what you see, click that subscribe button, hit that bell icon if you want to be notified every time we're putting out fresh content. All right, so the first thing, this is a completed dock and there's some nice features to it. The first thing that we do is we cut everything in a straight line. You'll notice, as far as your eye can see, how nice and straight this is. Wow, it's incredible. So when we're cutting straight lines, the way we get a nice straight line is by using a track saw. So really nice, crisp end cuts, really important. Next, what do you do with that deck board once you cut it? Well, I like to rasp the edges of my boards, okay? To break the edge, to break the surface, gives me a place to put my fascia on to the deck and have it nice and transition nice. And if it's a little high or a little low, if the deck board's off a little bit, it kind of hides some of that stuff. So basically all you're doing is you're taking your material, the rasps I use have a rough side and a less coarse, smoother side. I always use the smooth side, and I'm just taking it at a 45-degree angle. And usually you're making your cut on your downstroke. You don't do much on your backstroke, but you kind of, okay? So you're just trying to get a nice braked edge onto the board. Now, when I'm doing 120 feet, like I did on this dock, I actually have a little strip sander. It's a 1-inch wide strip sander that I'll run across here. It gives it a really nice effect, and I don't have to sit here and grind on a rasp on my hands and knees for 120 feet and keep going and going and going and going, and my back hurts and my arms are burning, and I might slip and scratch the deck, and I'm tired, I'm sweating, and my back hurts. Got me? That's number 2. So rasping out or filing or edging off your deck. Now some guys use a little laminate trimmer to do that as well. I used to use a laminate trimmer router and an 1/8-inch bead over bit, but what I found was it was taking a little too much material off for me. So if you're gonna do that, then you could do something else, which is number 3, end grain paint. Now this is not the right color for this, but I just want you guys to get the idea. So sometimes what I'll do is I'll go to Home Depot and I'll get color matched end grain paint. I take this sample in, I say I need some paint to match this color. 10 minutes later, I walk away. It doesn't come in this kind of a container, it's just a standard paint container. This is a different brand that uses a different technique, but you can see that a little bit of paint on an end grain will go a long way to make that look really nice. Because I like to do a lot of butt joints. I don't like to do a lot of miters because in my opinion, and it's just my opinion, and it's humble, my humble opinion, miters fall apart. I don't care how much you glue them, how much effort you put into them, and screws, and all the stuff, they're still going to have issues. So when you butt joint something, instead of mitering, it always stays together nicer, in my opinion, for where I live. Okay, where you live, it may be different. You may have different climate, maybe it doesn't, you don't have as much temperature shifted swing as we do. It probably doesn't rain as much. This is obviously a lighter color, but end grain paint is a really good way to finish off and make that deck that little step more. You can paint all your end grains if you want. We've done that before too. But the next thing I'm gonna talk to you about is fascia. All right, so when we finish off a deck, I always like to wrap my deck in fascia. I always like to bring my fascia the same height as the deck board, all right? A lot of guys will run their decking long and put this underneath the board, and then they'll have a surface border, or some guys just let the end grain show, whatever floats your boat, okay? For me, I like to do a double step fascia. So what I do is I like to do a full width piece of AZEK. This is a multi-width board. This is a 7 1/4 inch board. So on the little dock, we have a piece of 5 1/4 because it's a thinner frame. So you can use a thick piece, and then I use a piece of their 1/2 inch fascia underneath it. So I'm doing a staggered look all the time. I think that's a really nice look. I like to have a double stagger look instead of having a full piece all the way down or running 2 pieces and having a seam that's in the same plane. I like to bring it back to give it a little bit of dimension, a little bit of depth. I think it looks a lot nicer. I like finish ends. I like this to be all finished off. So that's what I do. I add fascia. On the topic of fascia, another way to finish off your deck, if you're using 1-inch fascia, you can put Cortex screws in the fascia. We use stainless steel, and then we Cortex this first layer so you do not see the screws, okay? You gotta look really hard to find them. So the only place on our decks that you're gonna see a face screw, and our last way to finish off a deck, is using color match screws in either your fascia or even in your top decking, to use color match screws so they blend better with the deck board or the fascia board. So the reason we have to use screws here, we can't use Cortex, is because this board is only a 1/2 inch thick. It's the same thickness as this board right here. So if you try to Cortex this board, you're only hanging on to this board by 1/8 of an inch. So it's not gonna happen. So we just accept the fact we buy a high quality stainless steel screw, and that's how it works, and it works well. So if you're trying to find a hidden fastening method for all your fascia, obviously this technique's not gonna work, but I've never had a client complain about having a couple screws showing because they don't really see them because they're the same color as the decking. All right guys, so thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like what you saw, or you learned a little something or picked up a tip, please click that subscribe button. Don't forget to hit the bell icon every time you want to hear about a future update of a video we're putting out. And one more thing, don't forget to check out Dr. Deck's Masterclass. It's available now through drdecks.masterclass.com or drdecks.com, teaching you how to bend deck boards, PVC and cap composites, and how to do it the right way with heat-conformed heating blankets, and how to build your jigs, everything that you need to know about bending decking. Go check it out. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.